And the focus of attention for today is that of enhancing worship. Enhancing worship. We hear in the gospel for today Jesus saying to Satan, worship the Lord your God and serve only him. In Psalm 96 we hear, worship the Lord, according to the King James Version, worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Let the whole world stand in awe of him. The Holy Scripture, throughout its entirety, speaks to us of the importance of worship in our lives. Not just the importance of worship, but the importance of worshiping God. So as a church, as a diocese, today we will look at worship and how do we enhance our worship experience. Now there are two words that I want to draw to your attention. The first is liturgy. The second is worship. For we so often use the word liturgy for worship, when in truth and in fact, liturgy is not worship. There is a sharp, distinct difference between liturgy and worship. What is liturgy? Liturgy is the work of man. It is frequently called the service, the Mass, morning prayer, evening prayer, the service of baptism, the service of holy matrimony, the service of funeral. That's liturgy. The service, the Mass, the act or work of man. It is the public gathering of the people of God to acknowledge God's authority and power over their lives. So liturgy is the structure of our service. That's liturgy. So what makes up liturgy? The call to worship, the readings, the intercessions, the act of penitence, the sermon, the hymns, the dining at the Lord's table. All of that together makes up the liturgy of the Mass, the service. That in itself is not worship. That is the liturgy. What then is worship? Worship is understood to be the act of glorifying God in our innermost being. So liturgy is the outside trapping. Worship is what comes from within. Do we understand the difference? Liturgy is the order of the service. That's liturgy, the order of the service. We do this, followed by that, followed by the other. We sing this, we sing that, we sing the other. The priest wears this or that at a particular season. That's liturgy. That's the outward. Worship is understood to be the act of glorifying God with our innermost being, our heart, our soul, our mind, our strength, as an expression of our love for our Creator. And as such, Worship is to be the heart of the Christian life. And it is geared, listen to this, and it is geared towards that of having an encounter with God to transform and strengthen our lives. So worship comes from within. Something we so often hear from persons when we ask them, what is the reason why I am not seeing you in church? And they would respond, time and time again, I would go to the church and get nothing from the service. Get nothing from the service. And the question is to be asked is this: where does worship come from? Does it come from within or without? You see, worship is the offering and expression of our true selves to God. Worship is the offering and expression of our true selves to God that enables a deepening of our relationship with Him. What does John chapter 4 and verse 24 says? It says, God is Spirit. Oh, we should be able to finish once I said, God is Spirit, and those who God is Spirit, and those who worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in. Where does the Spirit come from? Within or without? Within. Within. That is where the Spirit is. Within. The Spirit is not in the robe that I wear. The Spirit is not whether we sing our hymns slow or fast or jumpy or that. The Spirit is within. Within you. Not in me. And the Holy Scripture says that if we are to worship God who is Spirit, we must worship Him in spirit and in truth. In spirit and in truth. So, guess, liturgy is there to help us to worship. Liturgy is not worship. Liturgy is there to help us to worship. So we have the hymns and the prayers and the readings and the sermon and the Eucharist, all of these things put together in a particular structure to help us to worship God. Are you with me? But the liturgy itself is not worship. It is there to help us to worship God. It is like those in the commercial sector. When you go down to Broad Street, I can guarantee you at any given time you would see Cape Shepherd Showcase changed. Don't you see that? Huh? They redecorated. And all of that is to help you to walk in to see something that you don't need to buy. To help you. So all of these things that we do within the context of our service that we call liturgy, it is to help us to worship God in spirit and in truth. So, as a church, as a diocese, as we think and reflect about how can we enhance our worship experience, the question is to be asked in addition, where do we start? Where do we start? So often we make the mistake by trying to start with liturgy instead of starting with self. In enhancing the worship experience, we so often make the mistake by trying to start with liturgy instead of starting with self. Because I can guarantee you that if the church is dead, and you come to church on Sunday morning worrying about what you have to go back home and do, and the church next Sunday is all bright and beautiful and singing and shouting, and you will still be worrying about what you have to go back home and do, there will be no change, except the atmosphere around you will just be a little bit livelier. But there will be no change in your worship. There may be a change in the liturgy. There may be a change in the liturgy, but no change in your worship. So where does worship begin? And if we have to enhance our worship experience, where should we begin? We begin with self. We begin with self. First, internal preparation of the heart. Internal preparation of the heart. Each worshiper carries the responsibility for his or her personal preparation. How many of us prepare for worship? How many of us prepare in our hearts for worship? God is calling us to worship Him in spirit and in truth. And therefore, we must ask ourselves, what is the state of our spirit and readiness of our heart? What is the state of our spirit and readiness of our heart? Is my heart ready to worship God? When I'm leaving home to journey to church, is my heart ready to worship and to glorify His name? Or am I thinking and talking to myself about who I'm going to see in church, who I'm not going to see in church? I hope that person don't come. I hope this and I hope that and I hope the other. What is there in our heart as we journey to church? Because that is where the beginning of preparation for worship is. Not in the liturgy, not in the singing and the dancing and the shouting. It is in our heart. That is where it begins. I am going to church to worship my Lord and my God, and not a soul will prevent me from worshiping my Lord and my God. How many of us come to church with that in our hearts? With that in our hearts. You see, so often we can tell when we come to church unprepared, because any little thing that happens inside, outside, or around the church takes our full attention away from what's going on. Tell me that's not true. You're going to come to worship God, but you're going to just see a little shoestring outside, and you forget everything about why you came and watching to see whose people business going on outside. Tell me that's not true. So no matter the structure of the liturgy, if we do not come prepared to worship in our hearts, we have begun wrong. So if we want to enhance the worship experience, we must start first by internal preparation in the what? In the heart. In the heart. Then we have what we call pre-arrival preparation. Now I'm within my heart excited that I'm going to be going and worship God and praise God and thank God for His goodness and His love and His mercy towards me and towards all men. But other than being prepared in my heart, do I do pre-service preparation? I have made it my duty. Made it my duty to ensure that each and every one of you have the readings for next week Sunday morning. How many of us read before we come to church? To prepare. How many of us? I am going to worship God. We're going to have readings on Sunday morning. I have the readings a week in advance. Let me go through the reading and see what Sunday morning is going to be about, what God is going to be saying on Sunday morning. Prepare ourselves. Pre-worship activity. How many of us do that? But I go to church and get nothing. Sunday by Sunday, church is the same old, same old, same old. Because we are doing the same old, same old, same old. No preparation of the heart, no pre-worship preparation. No pre-worship preparation. Because you see, my dears, the activities that we perform before service can have a positive or negative impact on our worship. We had a pre-Lenten reflection for the clergy on Monday at St. Leonard's. And one of the comments that was made is that sometimes some priests wish that they could lock themselves away and just walk in at the moment to start service and that's it. Not because they don't care, but you know because of why? When they walk into the church, this person have this to tell them about, that person have that to complain about, shoo-shooing going on here, shoo-shoo going on there. Like everybody forgot we came to worship. Like everybody forgot we came to worship. So this person had to complain to the priest about that, or complain to the priest about that, or talking loud there and talking loud there and talking loud over there. Pre-arrival preparation will help with pre-service preparation. So when you read the lessons and those things before, the intercession will also be in your bulletin because you know what intercession is going to be coming next week already. Because it is right here. You know that next week Sunday, the intercession is supposed to be H. The reading is supposed to be X, Y, Z. We know all of that in advance. In advance. So our pre-arrival preparation will put us in a better frame of mind for our pre-service preparation. And the pre-service preparation is, what do I do when I arrive here? What do I do when I arrive in church? The short period from the time I walk into the door to the time service starts, what do I do? Many of us running to get a seat when the priest is at the back saying, let us pray. And we would have arrived there 5 minutes ago. But we shoo-shooing and talking instead of sitting down and reflecting and praying in preparation for worship. I could be in a vestry there and can hear some of the conversations that you're having clearly. Oh yes, I can hear. Clearly. Instead of preparing yourself for worship. Worship. How we interact with others. How we interact with others before service can have a positive or negative impact on our worship, on our worship. Intentionally quieting our spirit before service begins will also enable us to set distractions aside. Set distractions aside and again focus our corporate attention on God. On God. So let us talk about enhancing our worship experience by preparing in our heart pre-arrival preparation, pre-service preparation. But what about during the service? What about during the service? Do we willfully and intentionally participate? Do we willfully and intentionally participate? During the act of service, do we offer ourselves in totality to God, offering Him our body, our mind, our spirit, our time, our talents, our treasures? Do we offer ourselves to God? Or part here and part somewhere else? I mean, let's think about it. If we have to talk about enhancing the worship experience, how much of us are here in church holistically on a Sunday morning? Body, mind, and spirit. Or are we here body, but mind and spirit is elsewhere? Because I can guarantee you that many of us are here, but our minds are elsewhere. Because we're going to be looking at our clock saying, I have something to run home and do. Church needs to end. I have something to do. So we are physically here, but our minds are not here. Not here. Because our minds are thinking about everything else that needs to be done outside of here. So during service, which leads us to worship, do we offer ourselves in totality to God? Body, mind, and spirit. During service, do we truly listen to and follow the readings and hear God's voice through them? Again, I make it my duty to ensure that we have the reading Sunday by Sunday in front of us. How many of us intentionally listen to and follow the readings to hear God speaking through them? Or is it just another simple part of the liturgy? Well, no big deal. Just another part of service. If we are to enrich our worship experience, how do we focus our attention on the reading of God's Word? Do we sing our hymns and hear those words echoing in our hearts as we sing songs of praises or even our cries to Him? Every hymn that is sung in church has a message. It's either a message of praise or a message of supplication, praying to God for guidance and deliverance. Every single hymn has a message. They're not just music. They're just not words. They carry meaning and substance. But when we sing them, do we just open our mouths and just sing? Or do we sing them from the depths of our hearts? Let those words become our words. For example, a hymn. Great is thy faithfulness. Oh, it sounds good, and we love to hear it, and we sing it out. Great is thy faithfulness, great. But do we feel in our hearts the faithfulness of God? And be grateful and loving to Him because we feel in our hearts the faithfulness of God as we sing that hymn? Or is it just words that we sing accompanied by music? You see, all of that had to do with the worship experience. The worship experience. What about the intercession? Do we participate in the intercession as the prayers of God's people being offered up to God? Or just somebody reading something up in front of them? So while the intercession going on, I remember I had something to tell you, so I shush you and tell you one time because somebody just reading something up there. Or do we participate in the intercessions as the prayers of God's people being offered to God? Because intercessions is prayer. It's not just a reading of anything. It is a part of the liturgy that helps us to focus our attention on prayer. Prayer. Because different parts of the liturgy helps us to focus our attention on different things. For example, we're going to deal with, of course, during the liturgy, the act of penitence, which gets us to focus on our sinfulness and the need for God's mercy and forgiveness. So the intercession within the context of the liturgy is to help us to focus our attention on prayer as part of our worship. But do we intentionally participate in that intercessory prayer? What about the sermon? What about the sermon? Do we listen? Listen to the sermon. Listen to the sermon so intently that we do not hear the priest's voice speaking. We hear God speaking to us through the priest. But you know, and I know, that a priest or a pastor will stand up in front of his congregation or her congregation and preach a word that God placed on his or her heart, and somebody in the congregation going to jump out and say, I ain't going back because they preach about me. Because that person was not concerned about hearing the voice of God. That person did not come to church prepared in their heart to worship. So they were looking for things to find fault at. And so the priest or pastor said something in his or her sermon that took me on the side, and somebody tell him my business and he or she come talking in church. Instead of saying, speak Lord, thy servant heareth. When we come to the altar, to feast on his body and blood, do we come there with the understanding that we are coming to participate in that which was shed for our sins? Not just a ritual. God, your body and blood was shed for me. And as I come to the altar to participate and to receive it, oh God, I am once again being renewed in the sacrifice that you made for me. And therefore I will receive it with reverence. Receive it with reverence. Because that which I'm going to receive, God, I understand within my heart to be your offering for me. Do this in remembrance of me. What about after service? If our worship experience is to continue to grow, that worship after worship we are enhanced and renewed, it means that our worship has to go with us after the liturgy is complete. Our worship has to continue after the liturgy is complete. Because the liturgy is only there to help us to worship. And so when I am going home after church, I am still worshiping God in spirit and in truth. My lips might not be singing, or my lips might not be praying aloud, but in my heart I am worshiping. Because you see, worship can be structured or not structured. When it is structured, it's called liturgy. When it is structured, it's called liturgy. So worship could be structured or unstructured. 2 of us, 3 of us can just come inside here and just sit down and pray and sing hymns and have no sermon, no reflection, just pray and sing hymns and we worship, you know. And we worship unstructured worship. So, if our worship experience is to be enhanced, what happens after liturgy? What happens after liturgy? When someone meets us and says to us, you went to church? Yes, I did. How was it? Magnificent. What was the readings about? What was the sermon about? But it was good. But it was good. So my dears, enhancing worship begins with self. Preparation in the heart. Pre-arrival preparation in terms of going through the readings. Pre-service preparation in terms of sitting down and say a quiet prayer. Willful and intentional participation in the liturgy. And the continuation of worship after liturgy. Then, my dears, then we can say to ourselves, then we can say to ourselves, given the liturgies at our disposal in the Book of Common Prayer and the hymns of our traditions, how can we creatively utilize them to enhance worship? Then we can ask the question. After we do the personal, then we can say, how can we take our liturgies and use them creatively to help us enhance our worship? Because it's important to know that. If something is there to aid us in worship, it should be something that can truly aid us, not something that cannot help. It doesn't make sense giving me something and you say, oh, I give you that to help you, and you can't. For example, if I am homeless and I have no pants, and you come to town, and every time in town you see me, you see what you're not supposed to see. And you say to yourself, you know what? I am going to help him. I am going to give him a pants. And you bring a pants for me that 10 times me could fit in it. That is of no use to me. It is a pants. You gave it to me to help me. But it's of no use to me, because 10 of me can fit in it. So we have liturgy. So although worship starts with the personal, after looking at the personal, then we would look at the liturgy and see how can we take the liturgies that we have, the liturgy of morning prayer, evening prayer, the Holy Eucharist, how can we take those liturgies and creatively use them? Creatively use them to help enhance our worship experience. And so we look at structure. Because liturgy is about structure. If you were to look at the liturgy within the context of the CPWI, careful prayer and thought was put into the structure. To the point where quite a number of other religions now are using that structure. So can we change the structure? It is not advisable to change the structure, because it is structured in a way that it is for a proper religious and theological purpose. We are called to worship. We hear God's word speaking to us, reminding us of His goodness and our sinfulness. We pray for the world and the church. We ask God's mercy and forgiveness before we approach His altar. It is structured for a purpose. But is that structure edged in stone? There can be additions to the structure. You cannot change the basic structure, but there can be additions to the structure. For example, after the sermon, supposed to come what? What's supposed to come after the sermon? The what? The creed. But this morning, after the sermon, we're not going straight to the creed. After the sermon, we're going to sing hymn what? 103. That is an addition to the structure. I have not changed the structure, but an addition to the structure. The basic structure remains the same, but we can creatively work through and around the structure to add certain things in liturgy that can help enhance our personal worship. What about the hymns? Choices. It's all about choices. No one prescribes for us the hymns that we have to use. It's just choices. The hymns that we use presently, I use them because I want hymns that would speak to the readings. And the books that you have are so limited, because I can't tell you go and buy this other book and buy another book because you want to sing this or sing that. That's part of the problem. Because I can bring 101 different songs that I take from the internet for you to sing, but you don't have the books. There are times when you would have seen I would have printed a hymn on the service leaflet that I wanted us to sing that was not in the CPWI. But if I want us to sing a whole bunch of different hymns that are not in the CPWI, it means that I have to be killing Heather to print more pages. And she would say, Father, that's enough. But when it comes to the hymns, it's all about choices. So it's up to us. It is up to us to sing the type of hymns that we want to sing in church that can help us enhance our worship. But at the same time, not sing hymns for singing hymns' sake, but sing hymns that will help to enhance our worship. And hymns that will fall within the context of the season of the church. Because I love to sing Mary had a baby means I'm going to sing it in Easter. Huh? Not because it sounds good means I'm going to sing it in Easter. Because the message of that song is not suited for Easter. So when it comes to the hymns, we have choices. We can enhance our liturgy by the choice of the hymns that we choose. And I would love to have more choices. love to have more choices. The music. There is no law or regulation that says every Anglican church has to have an organ. There is no law set aside for that. What it is? Choice. Choice. That's what it's about. Oh, I love to hear the good old organ music. I born hearing the good old organ music. The good old organ music that remind me of my past. It's choice. Nothing prescribed by law. So the music that we use in church can be changed if it is going to help to enhance the liturgy that would lead to help us enhance our worship. So it's choice. Whether we get drums or not is a matter of choice. Whether we get guitars or not is a matter of choice. Whether we have the steel pan in church every Sunday, it's a matter of choice. But you know what is the problem? The problem is choice. That is the problem. The problem is choice. You want to know why I say that? Because if Sunday morning you come in here and you find I have a guitar blasting out in the back there, half of the church going to vex and half going to be happy. Half going to be vexed and half going to be happy. Oh, that's not my choice. So choice in itself is a problem. But it's a matter of choice. The type of music that we use within the context of liturgy to enhance our worship. Choice. Nothing prescribed in regulation or law. The type of mass we have is also choice. Because there are different types of mass. You have what you call high pontifical mass. And sometimes when you look at that Catholic television station, sometimes you see high pontifical mass with the smells and the bells. High pontifical mass. And you have the priest, the deacon, the subdeacon, and everything, and it's a big high mass. It's a matter of choice. And then you have regular high mass, which is not pontifical. So the regular high mass, you may just probably have incense, or just probably the bells, and the high mass. And then you have the mixture of high and low, which is St.Ambrose. The mixture of high and low. The mixture, so you sing the mass, you sing certain things, but you don't do this, you don't do that. It's a mixture of high and low. And then you have low mass, which is a said mass. No fuss, that's the only thing you sing is the hymns, and that's it. Nothing else is sung except the hymns. Low mass. Again, the type of mass is a matter of choice. Is a matter of choice. So the only thing that we don't have a choice with is the basic structure of the liturgy. But everything else is choice. Everything else is choice. So, there are some questions that we need to ask ourselves. Questions. Is there a need to enhance the liturgy to help us have a better worship experience? Do we need to look at the hymns that we sing? Do we need to look at the music that is used? Do we need to look at what can be added to the liturgy to help us in that journey? For example, Persons find it difficult to sit quiet and meditate before service starts. So is it necessary to have, before service starts, a little period of call to worship? Singing a few choruses to get people to stop talking and think more about God before service starts. Questions to be asked, answers to find. But this is something that we have to look at as a church in a very intentional way. How do we enhance the liturgy to help us to have a more enhanced worship experience? But remember, it does not start with the liturgy. It starts with self. Because we can enhance the liturgy, change the music, change the hymns, put additions, and it becomes a concert. And it becomes a concert. It becomes a good feeling moment where we come to church, feel good about everything that happened around us, but truly did not worship out of the depths of our hearts. So my dears, as we think about this parish and the ways in which we can enhance the liturgy, let's also think about ourselves as individuals. Because if we are to have even a little iota, if we are to have even a little iota of worship experience, we must come prepared for worship. If we do not come prepared for worship, we will not have a worship experience. Everything else to be done is simply to enhance the worship. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Let the whole world stand in awe of Him. God is spirit, and those who worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. I welcome your input and suggestions as time goes on as to how we can enhance the liturgy in such a way that it will enable you to have a better worship experience. Amen.
After the section 103.